Well, I haven't done this in a while. I'm going to do it as calmly as I can. I guess you can say I'm going to do a bit of a rant. But it's not going to be an angry rant. No. It's going to be done normally. Or as normal as I can make it. You see, yesterday, July 21st, I was supposed to go into Western Dental and basically go through the next procedure, the next step in getting my teeth. This next step would have been known as the abutment. Basically what that is they numb you up so that they can open up where they put the implants, if you will, the screw implants for, I guess you could say basically for where the teeth are going to go, or the bridge of teeth is going to go. And yesterday, I was all ready. I was all set. I was looking forward to it. I was like, I'm going to sit back, be numbed up. I'm going to be good to go. Or I'm going to be good to go with whatever they were going to do. Because I was looking up information. Is it going to be a mold, or is it going to be the abundant? What's it going to be? So, I'm all hype and ready to go. Heck, me and parts of my family make it a day. Because some of my family is my ride. But we make it a day. Excuse me. We make it a day. So we go, and we go to Turtle. I'm trying to find the right words to say here, calmly. We go to Turtle Rock, where the dentist place is, where the dentist place is at. And basically, we go there. To Turtle Rock, and we take care of a few things that need to be taken care of because we got some time. We get something to eat because we got some time. And I figure, well, might as well eat something, because if I go through the whatever next step I'm going to go through, if it is which was going to be the abutments, the stage 2, if I'm going to go through that, I'm going to be limited to what I can eat, right? At least for the time being. Well, we do all that. We make it a day. So we go to the dentist's office in Tolock, where I had my teeth pulled. I had my x-rays and all that. We go there. And basically, I walk in, and there's a lot of people ahead of me. Because here's what's crazy. This dentist appointment that I went to yesterday was originally scheduled to happen on the second to last Monday in June. But the doctor that took care of my teeth, pulled them and all that the last time, back in May, had to reschedule. Well, not in May, but in April, had to reschedule. Now, I had to reschedule back in May because the appointment was on a day that would have been basically too crowded for me. Too crowded for my ride, because that was the day my third oldest nephew was graduating, from high school. So I had to reschedule. They had no problem with that. I rescheduled to the second to last Monday in June, because the doctor dentist is a once a month dentist that comes there. So I schedule to basically, the second to last Monday in June. Then what happens? I get a call on the Friday before, and they tell me that the doctor that took care of my teeth, canceled at the last minute. Something came up, even to their surprise. So they rescheduled me again. They rescheduled me to yesterday. Now what's crazy about that is the original time was at noon. But then I get an email from Google, through my Gmail. I get an email through my Gmail from them stating that my appointment's now at 5:30. And I'm like, what? I'm like, excuse me? 5:30? What? Anyway. So we go. Like I say, we make it a day. And we get to the dentist's office. I go in. My ride, which is members of my family, they go and kill some time over at a Dee Dee's Discount, which is basically like a Ross. So, anyway, to get to the point, I go in there. I'm waiting because they had a lot of people scheduled around the 5 o'clock, 5:30 time frame, which is ridiculous, knowing they only have 1 or 2 doctors that come in once a month. So, yeah, I had to wait. I waited for almost an hour before I got called, and I was basically the last person called. And what happened was, I'm sitting on the dentist table. The doctor comes in, same doctor that worked on my teeth, pulled the bad teeth and all that. He comes in, checks my gums, wants to see how they're healing, sees that everything is gone perfectly. Basically, everything looks good. He's getting ready to go and do the next stage, which is as I mentioned, I think, the abutments. The abutments basically being I guess you could say, the flatheads that they would connect to the screws that would serve as sort of like the foundation, like the centerpiece, if you will, for the teeth, or the bridge of teeth when they get put in. So what happens? He's getting me ready for that. The dentist assistant comes in, puts a tray of the tools and everything. And then that is when one of the receptionists, I overhear this as I'm sitting, tells him she needs to talk to me. And she comes over, tells me they can't proceed. And I'm thinking, okay, why? But then she explains to me, and that's when it dawns on me, wait a minute. That's when it dawns on me, like, oh, I get it. Because basically what happened days before is I got a call from the collection agency, which represents this dentist place. And basically the collection agency is like, look, you need to make a payment, you can do augment payments, whatever you can do, minimum payments, whatever. And I'm thinking, okay, let me see if I can work something out come Monday. And they're like, okay, no problem. And the way they made it sound to me, and because I was talking to them and I have witnesses that heard the conversation as well, they basically said that I can go in, still have my appointment, and that whatever happens gets added on to the payment. So what was originally something, a bit higher, I'll just put it this way, I'll just put it this way, it's you want to round it to basically 13,000. So basically, the way they made it sound, and again I have witnesses on this, I could have my appointment, and that whatever happens gets added on to that. So I'm thinking, okay, cool. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe I can also potentially open up the Sunbit insurance, which this dentist place works with, which would allow me to pay off most of this, or at least some of it, and then do some payments afterwards. And you're probably wondering, what do you mean Sunbit? Well, when I first went, they told me about the insurance, and they gave me a time frame to try to get eligible, or at least, get it going. But because we've had holidays, birthdays, graduations, and applying for unemployment, helping others apply for unemployment, looking for employment, all this happening above, above and along with everything else personally, it just slipped my mind. It slipped my mind, and I was too little, too late to get eligible. And I tried to go online several times to kind of reignite this, but nothing worked. So I'm thinking, okay, if I got to make payments, I'll make payments. And I'm thinking also, after talking to that collection agency person on Friday, or at least Thursday and Friday, one of those days, I'm figuring, okay, I'm good to go come Monday to do my appointment, and all they'll do is add on what happened there to the total that's already there from the last time. But that didn't happen because, like I said, the receptionist came in and said, we can't proceed. We can't do this because you need to make a payment. And once you do, call us back up and we'll schedule you. Now, she was courteous in a way by saying, well, sorry we wasted your time. We're sorry we had you wait and wasted your time, because I was waiting for an hour. And look, I understand some dental places, like the one I went to, I understand that, sometimes they're meant to train the future of dentistry, from receptionist to actual dentist and all that. I understand that. But I think the one thing they still need to train some of these people on is communication. Not just at the office, but the collection agency as well. Because that is what caused this issue here. Yes, is it my fault for not capitalizing on what I should have to help out, when I had the opportunity? Yes, it is my fault. I admitted that to them. But I also admitted it to them that a lot of stuff's going on. I told them I'm on unemployment. That doesn't give you much, So basically, I was honest with them when I said it was my fault and things came up. I'm on unemployment. So basically, because of it partially being my fault, which I take responsibility, I wasn't able to get the teeth. But they also take the blame because you have one side of the coin, the collection agency, saying, hey, you could still do your thing, not a problem. And I have witnesses to that. Who, trying to find the right word to say, or who heard the conversation. I have witnesses. So you have one end saying you can still do your thing, it'll just be added on. You have another saying can't do it because you need to make a payment. When I went in there and I told them who I was, they didn't even, normally they ask for your date of birth and everything, just to confirm it's you. Just like, let's say, unemployment does when they have to even unemployment asks you that, EDD asks you that when they have to, confirm certain situations before they can proceed in giving you your money. So they didn't even ask me my date of birth or anything. They didn't even ask for my card. Well, they have it on record, but they didn't even ask for my date of birth, just to make sure it's me. So I'm just sitting there, like I said, and I'm waiting for about almost an hour before I'm the last one called. And it would have been nice that in between that time frame, they would have called me up to the reception office or reception desk and saying, hey, look, unfortunately, we can't, let you do your appointment today because you need to make a payment. And if you don't, we can't do anything for you. So you got to make a payment and all that so that we can do this. It's like if they would have told me that while I was waiting, I would have been like, okay, fine, no problem, and I would have left. But they didn't. They waited till I was laying down on the dentist chair, getting ready to go through that abundant stage 2 procedure to, get the teeth, eventually in my mouth. But they didn't do what obviously would have been the smartest thing, and that's just talk to me about the whole situation. Just call me up to the reception office, the reception desk, and tell me. They didn't do that. Instead, it's like, yeah, we can't do any. It's like, yeah, here I am sitting on the dentist seat and being told this. After I waited for about an hour. Now, like I said, she was courteous in saying, I'm sorry we wasted your time and made you wait so long. And that's fine. But again, it's called communication, not just with the patient, but with the business itself. You want to prove yourself to be a legit dental business, a dental hospital, whatever, dental franchise. You want to prove you're going to be one of the best, then you need to communicate. They should have contacted the collection agency, and the collection agency should have said, yeah, let them do the thing, just add it on. Just add on the price. But they didn't do that. There was no communication. Heck, there was lack of communication, to be honest with you. There was lack of communication while I was waiting. I mean, there were ladies, receptionists, assistants leaving for the day. They were already locking up the front door from the inside so that any patients that would try to be there for the appointment couldn't get in because they locked it from the inside, but you can get out from the inside. That, that kind of lock. But still, it's like you put me through all this trouble, and yes, part of it is my fault. Part of it is on me. Don't get me wrong about that. I take responsibility. But outside of that, the other part that is their fault is the communication. Because like I said, you have one end saying, the collection agency saying, hey, you're cool to still do your appointment and everything. While on the other end, the office, they're telling you no. And they're telling you this while you're sitting down on the dentist seat, or laying down on the dentist seat, getting ready to go to that next stage. I mean, the dentist checked my gums and everything, said everything looked good, wanted to check the healing, saw everything was good, everything was beautiful, as he put it, and he had the tray he had his assistant bring in the tray with the stuff that they were going to use to numb me up, open up where the the implants were, so they can put those little abundant things and then get ready to go to that next stage afterwards. He was all set to go. It was all set to go, and then I get that news. I know, by the grace of God, I am going to get my teeth fixed before this year's out. I know that. But if I'm this dental place or any other dental place out there, I would request them do one thing. I would request them to do one thing. Work on communication between your collection agency, that represents you, and your actual offices. Because if you don't do that, it's going to alienate a lot of people from wanting to go to you. I mean, as I was getting ready for dinner tonight, or last night, as I was getting ready for dinner last night, I told my family that I wish there was a Clear Choice here. Because I think if you compare the two, Clear Choice compared to this place, and I'm not going to name what it is, but I'll say it starts with a W. Clear Choice, I guarantee you, would have had communication locked down. They would have had communication locked down. But that didn't happen. That didn't happen here. Clear Choice probably would have had it locked down. These people didn't have it locked down. They do good work, don't get me wrong, but they didn't have it locked down. And honestly, they need to get their act together. In fact, I'll say this, and I'll include Clear Choice in there. All dental practices out there need to get the act together when it comes to communicating between the collection agencies and their offices. So that way they can have an idea of, okay, the patient can still the patient can still come in and get done what needs to be done, and we'll just add on to it. It's just one of those situations to where, as I'm told many times, God has a reason for things happening. And maybe it's not in His timing right now for me to be there, to get everything taken care of just yet. I mean, I do have my birthday coming up this Friday, and it would have made it a little hard for me to eat cake or eat pizza or whatever, depending on how we celebrate. It would have been hard for me. But yeah, it's just one of those situations to where it's like, me canceling on, the last day of May, or the last Friday in May because of my third oldest nephew's graduation from high school, it's one thing. That's one thing. And, and it does give enough time, a little bit more time for the gums to heal. But it's another to have the dentist himself schedule at the last minute, even to the disappointment of the receptionist there, because there are good people there. There are. It's just that some of them need to be trained on communicating with the collection offices. That's all I'm going to say. But even they were a little disappointed, like, yeah, it was kind of a surprise, because I think they had to cancel and reschedule a lot of appointments, because that would probably explain why there was a lot of people, scheduled on the 5 o'clock, 5:30 time frame, like I was. But, it's one thing, like I said, for me to do that in May, have it rescheduled for June, but then have that get rescheduled to 4 days before my birthday, and then to have this happen, it's ridiculous. And like I said, I do take responsibility. I do. But when you have a lot of things come up, and let's be honest, a lot of us have gone through this, one of the things that you have to, really put to the forefront and focus on will sometimes slip your mind. And in this case, it was me trying to do the Sunbit insurance. But still, who's to say even if I got that insurance, that they wouldn't have pulled the same crap they did on me yesterday? That even though most of that would have covered what was needed, they wouldn't have pulled the same crap on me like they did yesterday. I don't know. All I know is I gotta call the collection agency that represents the dental place later, and I gotta find out exactly what is going on and what I can pay, because I'm just disappointed. That's what it is. I'm disappointed. I'm not disappointed in myself, because I take responsibility. I take responsibility. I take fault for not doing what I needed to do with the Sunbit stuff and all that. I take responsibility. That's on me. But if I was to assign a majority of blame, 75-25, the 75%, that 75% of blame would go to them. Because they reschedule me for June. The dentist calls out, cancels at the last second. They reschedule me for 4 days before my birthday. They call me up days before, telling me, about what I need to pay, and then telling me that I can still go through what I have to go through, to get my teeth. And then they pulled what they did over the office. And they say some members of my ride, some members of my family that rode with me, down there to Turlock, to say some of them were not happy would be an understatement. I can't even put into words, how unprofessional it was. That, they decided not to tell me as soon as I got there, or as I was waiting. I can't tell you how unprofessional that was. Even though they had people ahead of me, they should have at least called me up to the desk and said, hey, we can't take you because you didn't make a payment yet. You need to make a payment. I can't tell you how unprofessional that was. I can't tell you how unprofessional it was for them to reschedule me from noon, which, believe it or not, that yesterday's appointment was supposed to be at noon. How unprofessional it was for them not to give me a courtesy call and say, hey, it's scheduled now to 5:30. It's a lack in communication. So yeah, I take 25% of the blame. I do, for not doing the insurance stuff and all that, and letting it slip my mind. I do take responsibility. But 75% of it goes to them. Because of the fact that, the rescheduled appointment for June that I had to do because of my nephew's graduation gets rescheduled to this month. Gets rescheduled to this month to yesterday. And then to only have this happen in return. I'm just disappointed in them. I'm disappointed. And I guarantee you those that were waiting, even though they got probably what they needed done, if they did it all, some, I'll be honest with you, went in and then they came out as quickly as they went. I'm trying to find the right words. Some of the patients that were there waiting there at the same time I was, went in and almost a few minutes later came back out. I think it's because they were dealing with the same situation or something came up. I don't know. It's a lack of communication. And what's crazy is one of my family members told me that a friend of theirs deals with the same dental people. And the same dental people are taking a sweet-ass time with, either tightening or removing their braces. And that's a friend of the family. Look, I get dentists are there to do their job. I get these dental offices are here to do their job. But when I see Clear Choice get advertised, as probably the best place to go, I know that that's telling me right there that there are dental offices that basically have communication. They talk with each other. They talk with the collection agency. They work with the patients. They do all that because they're professional. And they don't wait till you're sitting on the dentist's seat to tell you they can't do anything, just as everything is getting set up and being ready for you to go through through that next stage. All I'm going to say is this. Like I said, God has His timing. Now's not the time. He's going to put the time in front of me, and when that time comes, I will be ready. But I will say this. To any dental place out there, including Clear Choice, do your patients and do yourselves a favor. Work on communication between you and your collection agencies. So that way, it doesn't make you look bad, and it doesn't make you lose patients to other outlets like a Clear Choice. But that's all I'm going to say, guys. I just wanted to come on here and, in a very calm way, rant, express my disappointment in what happened. Like I said, I take 25% of that blame. I do. But 75% of it goes to this W dental place. This W dental place. Because, again, the rescheduled appointment that I had to reschedule for in June, getting called off because the dentist canceled at the last second. And then this, and the lack of communication, they're not telling me it got moved from noon to 5:30, and the lack of communication on both their ends, collection agency and the offices, they take majority of the blame. They do. But that's all I'm going to say, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are down below in the comment section, as well as during the live chat during the premiere. Like the video, ring the bell for notifications, subscribe to the channel, share the video, like the video. Click on the links in the description to find my content elsewhere outside of YouTube, as well as click on the link to the Teespring store for merchandise you can't get anywhere else. But give me your thoughts, guys. What do you think about this whole, circus that I had to go, this whole fiasco, circus, whatever you want to call it, that I went through? Let me know what your thoughts are on it. Let me know if you've gone through something similar. And until then, I'll talk to y'all later.